I'm Andi Lew, and you are listening to the podcast, which is all about having an abundance of wellness. It's called Well To Do. You know me, and we are always bringing on fantastic guests that can help you do just that. Today's episode is helped to harmonize you and everybody else in this entire studio with EMF protection from Aries Tech. In our crazy tech world, with all of the Wi-Fi and the, I guess, radiation energy coming from microwaves, your iPad, your screens, everything. We're getting bombarded with it. And so instead of blocking it, Aries Tech are a global company that have created devices that can go on the backs of your devices or in your homes and can create, I guess, more of a balancing effect instead of blocking. When we block, it works even harder to draw that signal. So check out Aries Tech and also use my code ANDI, ANDI 30 for a generous 30% off. Now let's get stuck into our guest. He is board certified. We are now welcoming Dr. Kien Vuu. Hello.
It is so good to be here. Your energy is radiant, and it always just feels so good to be in it.
Oh, well, listen, you have so many qualifications. We can deep dive into what kind of a doctor you are. It's in radiology and interventional medicine. Now, this is interesting because we're all about being, I guess, holistic and proactive. But when somebody's in radiology, is this preventative, or tell me about all your qualifications?
So the training in interventional radiology, I actually have 3 board certifications. The first one is diagnostic radiology. And what radiology is, it's just using machines and technology to study the information of the body. And so it's using ultrasounds, MRIs, CT scans, nuclear medicine, PET scans to receive signals from the body so that a diagnostic radiologist can look what's going on inside to prescribe some kind of diagnosis. There's a pneumonia in the lung, there's a ruptured appendix in your body. So it just gives you a view of the body.
Yeah.
And that's what diagnostic radiology is. Interventional radiology is using the imaging techniques to guide minimally invasive procedures. And so if I see a mass in the lung, I can put somebody in a CT scan and put a needle in it to sample it to see what it is. But also I can use that same CT scan to freeze a tumor or to burn a tumor. I can go into blood vessels and be able to see it on screen, to be able to suck out clot when those vessels are clogged. And that's the interventional side. And that is all in the realm of conventional medicine.
When things have gone too far, this is what we need.
Exactly. When they have gone too far. What I do believe, and hopefully our conversation will reflect, is our energetic being, the energy that we give to ourselves, the energetic environment we give to ourselves. Over time, if we give it a stressed energy, our cells will not function very well, leading to poor tissues, poor organs, poor organ systems that then has some kind of physical manifestation in the body. And so conventional medicine is great for something acute. If somebody comes in with trauma, they broke their leg or something that's happening in an acute setting, such as pneumonia, you can give antibiotics. But what is the energetic layer of things that are chronic? I mean, chronic disease is now a major epidemic, not only in this country, but all over the world. 1 in 2 people have it. 1 in 4 people have multiple chronic diseases. So that's an issue. And that issue mainly stems from how we live our life, the messages that we're giving ourselves, and the energetic environment we create for ourselves. So 10 years ago, I was this interventional radiologist, chief of interventional radiology in my hospital, and I was constantly striving and chasing success and becoming and climbing the ladder of the hospital in this world of success outside of myself.
Right.
Then I was overweight, diabetic, had high blood pressure on several prescription medications.
See, looking like how you are now, fit as bleep, you would never think that you were overweight. I was actually overweight too. I was like 10 kilos heavier than what I am now. But what was not functioning well within you, and what led you to continue?
Yeah. Well, great question. So it was then a deep dive. It was, several things happening all within the span of a year that just had me re-question life, how I was living life. And that led to some, huge changes. So I knew at the time I wasn't fit to give any medical advice, because here I was a walking and talking disease statistic.
Wow, because honestly, you don't go to a hairdresser with bad hair,
Yeah.
right? And you don't go to a butcher to get your hair cut. We know that they can cut, but can they cut hair?
Right, exactly.
But what I'm saying is we do look towards healthy people to take advice from because we
Yeah.
know they walk their talk. I honestly, I don't like bringing people on my show if they've had Botox or they're just out of integrity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you said to me, what should I wear today? Because we wanted to match. And I was like, wear the tight fitting shirt because you are a picture of health. You know, you walk your talk, but that you didn't always walk your talk. Is that because you were stressed, because you were studying?
It was a combination of all that. And I think well, maybe we should dive into my story a little bit right now. But
Yes.
I think so many of us, we come into this world where we're blessed with everything. We are a gift, but we forget. And the traumas we grew up with, the traumas we inherited from our ancestors, put masks around who we are authentically. And if we go through life wearing that mask, thinking that we are not safe, that we are not loved, that we are not connected, that we are basically living in this survival mode, not knowing. And so, me not recognizing I was worthy, that I was enough, I was constantly chasing the things outside of me. That chasing energy basically is the same type of consciousness that is, I'm not safe, I'm in danger, which is the same biology and physiology that's created when you're running away from a saber-tooth tiger.
They're constantly in a state of fear, which is releasing cortisol, excess adrenaline, creating an acidic environment, which then in turn may cause cancer, all the things.
No.
Isn't that incredible that somebody with an allopathic training and background can acknowledge how holistic health really works? I mean, if I may say,
Yeah.
Dr. Kien, this is why I wanted to have you on, because you're a brilliant educator. You are a picture of health, like you walk your talk. It's okay to be human because we all go through ebbs and flows where we don't. But you're kind of on fire right now. And this is the quote that comes to mind when I think of you. It's a Thomas Edison quote. Have you heard of this one? The
Tell me.
doctor of the future will give no medicine. He or she will rather educate their patients in the care of the human frame, in diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease.
Wow.
It is wow, because I mean, the chiropractic profession use that and they, you know, understand it in the care of the human frame.
Yeah.
But the cause and the prevention of disease has always been something that I think sticks with people, that helps them to act. Like we can tell you there is this, that, and the other, but until you understand why, how the body works to heal, and you haven't moved the person to act. I think you're on a bit of a mission right now.
Absolutely.
It is kind of like, I'm just going to be the best educator that I can. So this, I think, if we can go back to your intergenerational trauma,
Absolutely.
came from how you even landed up in America.
Yeah.
And I think your level of awareness, which took your healing and your own personal health now to another level, is because you've acknowledged that and you've healed it. So tell us how you got here.
Yeah. Well,
Physically,
physically.
geographically.
Well, mom and dad were in the back seat. No, I'm kidding. My
a stork brought me in one night. Dad found me in his beer.
I was born in Vietnam,
Yes.
and my grandparents actually fled China during wartime to start a life in Vietnam. But there were Chinese immigrants in Vietnam, and so they were persecuted against growing up in Vietnam. You're not one of us. You're Chinese. And so they went through rounds of just persecution and not feeling like they had a home there.
Yeah.
And then the Vietnam War happened. You've got this big regime that's trying to force this new ideology on you. And we were on the losing side of the war, being from South Vietnam. And when they came in, they basically seized everything, seized businesses, seized all the money, took all the possessions. It was a big genocide from some people from the old ideology. And so my parents, right around the time they were having me, they witnessed people getting shot, witnessed a bunch of like gunshots, and they try to escape. And the first time they try to escape, they actually went on this small fishing boat, you know, filled with tons of refugees, but then they actually got caught.
Wow.
And so my dad was thrown into these re-education camps, and they tried to brainwash you to this new ideology. And my mom was pregnant with me. And I was born without my father by her side, and they went through a lot of that trauma. And fortunately, a couple months after I was born, they were able to escape again. We escaped on this large boat. sailed to the Philippines, and they evaded pirates that eventually killed a bunch of people.
Wow.
People from our ship actually passed. I actually became the only surviving infant on that ship.
Wow. And like, what are you even carrying? Nothing but the clothes on your back.
Pretty much. Yeah, nothing. We spent 8 months on that boat. We spent another 3 months in a Philippine refugee camp.
Do you remember being hungry, tortured? Like, what was going on?
No, but I energetically, even
Yes.
though I don't remember it,
Yes.
I sometimes feel fear and don't know why, or
Yeah.
sometimes feel very pessimistic, like something's going to happen. And I don't
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
why.
That's the PTSD
But I
response.
also understand, my mom, throughout my life, she was constantly looking at news headlines, be careful of this, be careful of that, and just understanding just how on edge her nervous system was. And those type of things gets passed on. And we could talk about epigenetic transference later on, but I was carrying that. But when I came to America, I remember this environment. You know, I should have felt so grateful to be alive, but here I am in this environment. I got bused to a more affluent area of school. I was constantly just being teased. For the holes in my hand-me-down clothes to the smelly food my mom sent me to school with. I got a whole bunch of like, go back to your home country, Chinky, you chink.
Well, it wasn't smelly. They just weren't aware of how good it tasted.
Oh yeah, no, now it's everywhere. Now it's delicious. Now people are really embracing it. But back at the time, it was something that was frowned upon. And so
foreign. We didn't know.
Yeah.
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 It's like in Japan when I lived in Tokyo, I experienced the word gaijin, which actually means alien. So it's just something foreign when people don't know it. But what's happening is with this beautiful, wellness revolution and human connection and the spiritual warfare or whatever you want to call it, we're getting closer and closer and closer. It's becoming evident. Hopefully it'll just be this big bang where we all just love and become one again. That's what we need, because you're saying that this intergenerational trauma and the understanding of healing that, even though you can't quite remember it all, lived in the cells. And when that nervous system, because it has a memory, kind of, I guess, surrenders and lets go of it, that's where the real healing can happen. I'm totally on board with this, by the way, as a chiropractic advocate. So
no, absolutely. What you say is true. I mean, I do believe we come in, that our life is a huge gift. And just being able to live life and sharing that gift with other people is actually the key to health. And it's not necessarily a matter of more doing, but a matter of just remembering that this breath. And my daughter was born with a cord wrapped around her neck and ankle, and I wasn't sure she was able to make it.
Wow, that's scary.
Those moments there just makes me remember what a gift it is to be alive.
Yeah.
I remember holding her in my hand. And she had tubes down her nose, a tube down, IVs in her arms and in her legs. And I wasn't even sure if she was going to have any brain damage. But I just remember loving her so much. And not caring what the outcome was. It was just love.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, each and every one of us was brought into this world with that energy. And that's who we are.
The miracle of life itself.
And it's the human journey to forget. But I think in this forgetting process of me not feeling like I was worthy, not feeling like I was enough, I put on all these masks so that I can get it from the outside world. Chase success, become someone with a personality that can be liked, all this proving, all this trying, all this doing. But in living that way, neuroscientists are beginning to learn more about a part of the brain called the default mode network. This is a part of our primitive brain and nervous system that has inherited things from our ancestors, and then the traumas that we experience growing up. There are big T traumas of divorce, drugs, neglect, abuse, to even the smaller T traumas of not being seen, not being heard, not being able to be who you are.
That's the biggest one, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm wellness coaching people, to be honest with you, when you're not doing what you're born to do, like, how sick do people get?
That's the root cause of disease. I'm gonna
right.
call it right there.
I've been discovering. I got goosebumps. I discovered this in the last couple of years. I'm like, you're not doing what you're born to do because you're hanging on to a narrative where somebody told you that wasn't possible, or you don't amount to that, and that's you shouldn't be doing that, or get a real job, and all these narratives. So 100%, this is your story, your journey, your family's story. I wonder how many people aren't even asking their parents and their grandparents where they came from, literally, right? And how that might interplay into their overall health. And
Yeah.
you discovered this from after doing too many degrees,
Too
trying to,
many degrees, chasing,
yeah,
wanting to know the answers from the outside,
yeah,
doing an additional training, board certification, in longevity and regenerative medicine. So I
yes,
learned all this science, all this cool tech that,
yes.
don't get me wrong, I really think that we're making huge strides.
Mm-hmm.
But if we look at the healthiest people on the planet currently, they don't have access to any of this technology.
Mm-hmm.
It's how they live their life. It's what they put in their mouths, whether they're moving every day, whether they're or not they've got deep sense and they feel deeply connected with a tribe, family, and whether they're just living as them with a purpose, not doing, but living.
Or the perception of what happened for them instead of to them.
Absolutely all of that. How we feel, how we live life, how our consciousness, there's an energy to that.
Are
And
you
it affects the
spiritual?
people as, oh, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah,
I've
sorry.
only started to wake up more and more to how deeply connected we all are. And it's the remembering of that that actually, I think, will reverse disease and symptoms if you have any.
But does
But
it matter what we call it, whether we call it God, the Jesus, like does it really matter?
I don't think it matters. It's just labels. It's just labels that divide us from each other than really understanding the truth.
So there's something greater than us.
You know,
That's the universal intelligence.
something greater than us, something that is a part of us, something that we're all a part of.
Programming our innate intelligence, or running it rather, not programming it.
Yeah.
So then let's go into what you saw when you were in practice,
Yeah.
and what were some of the mistakes that the average person's making when they're not connected to spirituality or their body or their, history.
Well, then you don't really remove the root cause of disease. Um,
Boom.
so let's just use me as an example, so we won't have to call out any of my patients.
No, you don't have to say their name, but yeah, give us
Well, I'll give
examples.
examples
What
also,
are
but I
people
mean,
doing?
but
Yeah.
I feel like I'm a very common example because if you live life forgetting who you are and in this sort of trauma response of not feeling good enough, feeling like you always have to prove, you're basically living in a stress state. And that consciousness allows you not to be able to see life as it is, but you're constantly hustling. So forget about sleep because I constantly have to prove myself. Forget about, being grounded and being grateful to enjoy a meal that's going to refuel my body. But no, I'm in stress. So I'm having leaky gut with the crap that I was putting in my mouth. So you're making these unconscious choices that are constantly adding on to the dis-ease and the energy of stress in your body. And then that energy epigenetically turns on the genes of inflammation.
Yeah.
It will turn off the genes of immunity. And basically every single cell, which has their own consciousness, and what's going on in the outside world? Oh my God, we're in danger. Be careful.
Have you seen that when you looked at the
What's
radiology? At the radiography? Did you see the cells going, what's going on?
Well, now I'm kind of in tune because
Yeah.
if I take a look at somebody's body now on the inside and I see lumps in the liver
Yeah.
and I see some holes in the lung, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this person's drinking and smoking their way out of pain. So I'm like, oh, I can almost sort of feel what's going on in the body. And basically our body is this, who we are. We're this big ecosystem of cells forming tissues, forming organs that form who we are. And they're all just responding to the energy that's around it. And ultimately, the consciousness that's controlling this environment, we have the possibility to shift the messages that we're giving to ourselves. The only thing is, are we conscious or are we not conscious of it? And we could, a big clue to whether or not we are is asking ourselves how we feel. If we feel good, if we feel content, if we feel
At peace.
connected, then that's a clue to our birthright and knowing who we are. And when we're not, there is some falsity, some distortion, some lie, something we picked up that's in the way.
Right.
And we can be grateful for that because it shows us who we are not and what we need to work on to release to remember who we are.
I see. So isn't it amazing then that spirituality is coming into health? Because how many times did, people get preyed upon and miracles happened?
Yeah.
We never really looked into the science of that. And to be honest with you, I never cared for looking at research and studies and even case studies. I just know if it worked for me, then it worked and we don't need to dissect it. It worked,
Yeah.
right? What do you think about placebo and nocebo?
Yeah. Well, they're 100% true. I think what we do feel, what we do believe, the feeling, we could already grab a bunch of lab tests and then measure biomarkers like heart rate variability, EEG scans, etc. How we feel directly corresponds to our biochemistry, what we can measure on somebody's HRV. And so what we feel is a living and breathing gauge of the state that our cells are in as well. And so knowing that, believing that, we would be a little bit more conscious about the thoughts that we start to think and the emotions we feel, because our cells feel it too.
Yeah.
And we talk about science, and I think science is great. It has progressed, but I mean, it has limitations, you know?
Oh, there's no perfect, like medicine's not perfect.
If we lived in truth of the science of where it was at, like 75 years ago, we would say that so much of what we know now is bogus, because science hasn't been able to catch up with the truth. We've done a better job in being
The
able
more
to
we learn and think we know, the more we realize we will really never know, because it's just so incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so incredible. Also, your daughter, going back to her, she's going to have to process that too. Are you ready for like untangling, pardon the pun, her birth trauma, if you like, and has it already been healed, so that, you know, because what we fear, we attract, what we resist, we persist, it persists rather. You know, what may she have began in terms of health challenges if she didn't have a father like you? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I trust that that would have been her path if that was the case. And because there's also fear, like, oh, how am I going to screw this up? And now that I'm conscious, how do I best control the circumstance for her to live a certain life? And I recognize that's not my role, that I'll always sort of just be at a place where I can choose to be the best version of myself and allow her the space for her to make her own mistakes and to have her own life, and recognize that it would be her journey and her awakening at some point for her to find and remember herself, just as I have me, you know?
That's really beautiful. Yeah. And so what do you see for the future of your career? Because it has become a very educative role, if I may say.
Yeah.
And I mean, doctor means teacher in Latin. So is it just all about education and empowering the person? Is that, or do you still want to deep dive into radiology, radiography? And because I just had this weird sort of premonition, if you like, but you kind of remind me of the founder of chiropractic, D.D. Palmer.
Oh,
he was a mad scientist too, and he got really excited about collecting spines. And, you know, he had them, you know, scoliosis and kyphosis and all of the different spines in like a museum type thing. And he had, you know, university after that, hospitals and everything. People just came and got adjusted. Miracles happened. But like maybe these radiography pictures could be displayed in a museum somewhere, and you could talk about that correlation of the spiritual connection and the unhealed journey or something. I don't know.
What does it look like? I don't know. What I do feel like it's going to be expansion. It's going to feel like play. It'll be an intersection of media, of entertainment, of spirituality, of medicine, of us remembering who we are. I feel the energy of what's there, but you know how I play with it, I'm not quite sure yet. I mean, you've seen me do the Maha documentary and, you know, speak on stages.
Yeah, it's how
and
we
media
met.
has been really, really fun. But I'm less fixed on maybe what it looks like, but I know what it feels like. And I can't wait. And you're mentioning, do I stay with the radiology? Do I not? One of the things I really want to say is that I don't want to poo-poo conventional medicine at all. I mean, being able to see inside the body to see what's going on.
Oh, if anyone
it's an
needed
amazing thing.
We need you on our side if anyone needed it.
I was just doing a week at the hospital, and there were 2 patients that came in that week that basically had huge blood clots fly into their heart, and they were on their way to crash.
Wow.
I went in the middle of the night to be able to take these big tubes into their blood vessels to suck the clot out.
Wow. You have got a lot of responsibility.
There is no way that I know of. I don't know. I know some really powerful healers that have healed some crazy stuff, but to be able to take somebody a situation where they're a ticking time bomb, because if that clot
Yeah.
clogs up anymore, the heart will stop.
That was life-threatening at that point.
Yeah. And we brought the patients back to life. And so I'm never poo-pooing it. It's a different tool that we have. But what I can say is radiology just studies the different energies and how the energies interact with X-rays, with sound waves, of magnetic waves. And we're starting to be able to almost have this new wave of looking at more subtle energies in the body, what's coming off in terms of heat and light. And we talk about energy and frequency. We may be getting to the point where we can actually see whether somebody's in alignment by being able to measure these subtle energies in the body. And so
Aries Tech is going to love this conversation.
Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting time. We have AI, gene editing, stem cells, exosomes, all this regenerative medicine, which I believe will allow us to really live longer. But I think also, let's not forget about the power of our consciousness, about how we approach life, of remembering we get to, and that feeling of feeling alive because you're doing what you're doing, and you're just so grateful for this breath. That same thing mixed in with all these technologies are going to come together. And I think our ability to live a long time, but not only live a long time, but really do good for ourselves and other people in the world is going to expand. And I think the key is to not just rely on things outside of ourselves, thinking that it's going to heal us. Let's not be asleep to the fact that we are really powerful within ourselves, and we'll outsource our power to this tech and to this other intelligence. Let's remember the power of who we are. And then if we can merge that with all the amazing tech that's out there, wow, the future is beautiful.
Yeah, because we need both.
Yes.
I always say the power that made the body heals the body.
Yeah.
The power that made the body heals the body. And what environment are we giving it? And, when we talk about alternative medicine versus allopathic medicine, I always say, what's it an alternative to? Because we need both.
Yeah.
We need both. So it's complementary. The most beautiful thing you said is that I know it's going to be fun and you're excited. We all learn more when we're having fun.
Absolutely.
Right? So keep having fun with us.
The most spiritual person I know is my daughter. She's 4.5 and she is just bubbling, enjoying life. She's exploring. And I mean, it's the closest we know of who we are when we are that, before we get all these programs that say, oh, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And so
gorgeous.
If we could remember that, if we could remember to play.
Gorgeous. I love that.
We find ourselves again.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for always sharing your love with us. This Aries Tech Life Tune gift is for you. It's a flex to go on either a keyring or a necklace. So please take that. And we have been hydrating and cleansing and healing on Aphora water. So thank you so much. You've been watching Well To Do. Where can we find you, Dr. Kien Vuu?
The best place to find me is on Instagram or LinkedIn at Dr. VMD. So spelled out Dr. DOCTOR VMD. And if they want to get access to a digital version of me where I'm speaking to them and coaching them, you can access that for free at my Linktree, link in bio on Instagram.
Fantastic. And we want all of your longevity ideas and medicine, as well as regenerative medicine. And that's what you're about. That's what you're sharing with us right now. We hope that you have felt abundant in his knowledge. So thank you so much. And please share this video if you enjoyed it or learned something, or you think somebody else could benefit from it. Well To Do with Andi Lew. Stay tuned.